Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Odie McKinley, and I'm the Media and Communications Manager at the Michigan Economic Development Corporation. Today, I am honored to be here this morning with Quentin Messer Jr., the CEO of the MEDC. Good morning, sir.
How you doing, my friend? Thanks for affording me the opportunity to chat with you again.
Absolutely, we're so happy you were able to join us. I would also like to take a moment to thank the folks that are listening in today as well. But with that, let's get right into it. So, Mr. Messer, we've had quite a week this week.
Just a little bit.
Just a little going on. But before we get into some of the exciting news that unfolded here, let's look back at 2021 for a quick minute. You've been here at the MEDC for just about 6 months. So far, what are your thoughts? What are your takeaways so far?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you and the members of the Marcon team. I know Kyle and Nick and others are hard at work, so grateful. So really, my thoughts are gratitude. I'm having the time of my life professionally. I've got great colleagues. I'm here at University of Michigan, not to show favoritism. I do my visits all over the place, but just the fact that they were thoughtful enough to find me a room to have this call. It's just that Team Michigan spirit of core is a powerful symbol. Two, it is so good to be a part of a state that makes things. Because when you're a state that designs and makes things, you have really the secret sauce to be competitive. Mm-hmm. And the last thing is I'm a native Floridian, moved up from Louisiana, but lived in the Northeast and lived in the Midwest previously. It's good to see snow again, believe it or not. So I'm cool with the weather. It's all good.
Well, good. And, in that months, very quickly, you brought to the team this goal of building a championship economy for Michigan. And those within the MEDC have learned what that means, but maybe can you share with the listeners what your vision of a championship economy here in Michigan might look like?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a huge sports fanatic, and I love college football, professional football, boxing, basketball. My wife often jokes, anything that's a score, I'll watch it that has scoring. But really, when we talk about championship economy, economic development only matters to the extent that it helps people, that it translates in the lives of Michiganders, whether they be up north in the UP, in West Michigan, Southeastern Michigan, Central Michigan. And building a championship economy means simply that we provide regionally relevant opportunities to accelerate upward economic mobility. We want to put more money in the pockets of Michiganders. And we want Michiganders to realize their economic dreams and entrepreneurial opportunities right here in Michigan.
No, that's good. We like that. We like being able to draw the connection between economic development and the wide world of sports.
Yeah. I mean, and by the way, kudos to both the young men at Michigan State and University of Michigan and Western and Central. A number of the teams have really strong seasons on the gridiron. A number of them are doing very well on the hardwood, as are the women's teams in basketball and other sports. So I think partly it is some function and focus on a championship economy really spoke to the competitive nature of Michiganders. No state sort of rallies around the flag and has a stronger sense of state identity to Michigan. So I want us to make sure from an economic development perspective, we're doing everything that's required to build a championship. And we can talk about some of the elements that are required to build a championship, whether it's talent, whether it's make sure you have the resources, make sure that you're telling your story. All those elements are crucial in order to building a championship. And you also have to be continuously figuring out how to get better. And that's what we aspire to do and are doing at MEDC.
Yeah. And, to have a championship economy, sometimes you've got to have some big wins. And looking back to December in 2021, the legislature passed a package of bills to create programs that will help Michigan attract and retain transformational projects here in Michigan. And earlier this week, the MSF approved one of the first project to use some of the SOAR funding. What does an investment like General Motors' recently announced investment do for the state? What does it mean for Michiganders in every corner of the state?
This is a great question. First of all, I'm incredibly grateful to General Motors, their entire team, their board, for this vote of confidence in Michigan. So one of the things, if you go back to sort of what does it take in order to make great sports teams, great programs, you need to have that signature win. You need to begin to prove not only to yourself, but to the competition that you're serious and you're viable. And what GM's announcement was basically saying, don't sleep on Michigan. We're not going to just sit idly by and not be aggressive in competing for the future of American or international mobility for that matter. We want a shot. We will earn the business. That's what happened with General Motors. How will it affect the entire state? We know statewide, 1 out of 5 Michiganders who are employed in the automotive industry. We know that for every job added in the automotive industry, that represents about 3.5 people, population growth-wise. We know about the incredibly rich supplier network, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 suppliers, not only just in Southeast Michigan, but up north, in the UP, out west. There is a reason why states and provinces are competing for these battery mandates. They know what we have long known and probably maybe taken for granted. The supply chain and value chain in passenger vehicle mobility is second to none. There are very few industries that have that type of supply chain: forestry, semiconductor manufacturing. But when you think of what having that plant is going to mean for the Lansing area, what it's going to mean in Oakland County and Orion Township, it means that there are going to be restaurants who have been hard hit because of what has happened with the pandemic and the endemic. They're now going to have men and women who are going to have lunch there, celebrate retirements, celebrate catching the biggest fish, winning fantasy football tournaments, and also celebrating their family life events. That's what that means. It means that dry cleaners, grocery stores, entertainment venues. So those positive externalities to the surrounding business, not just businesses directly supply, can't be understated.
You know, the add-on ripple effect when projects like this come into the state, not just a particular region, is really profound. And that is one of the major variables of a healthy economy here in the state. And the other kind of thing that happened this week was that oh, that's right, it was the state of the state last night. So talk to me about that. What was your impression of the state of the state, your first state of the state that you've heard, and Governor Whitmer's position and drive to continue to build upon Michigan's healthy economy?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I thought it was inspiring, empathetic, and focused and practical state of this state. And so let's pull back and realize what brought us success with the legislation you mentioned, with the SOAR fund, the GM announcement. When we come together as Michiganders, there's nothing we can't do. There is no state or province in the world that can compete against us. And I think you saw the governor said, let's identify those areas in which we can agree. Economic development. We all want to win the kitchen table for the future of our friends and neighbors. Secondly, we began to really understand the need to get money in the hands of families. And finally, we understood that we've all gone through this collective experience, this traumatic experience of pandemic, endemic. We've lost too many people. And we need to come together and figure out what are those non-skills-based work. I mean, I know it's a bipartisan, Republican, Democrat, Independent, no party comes together and realize what's the number one asset in Michigan? It's not the water, and that's tremendous. It's not our scenic beauty. It's the people. And we have to come together and bring all of government, along with the private sector, along with philanthropic, along with higher ed at both the 4 and 2 year and K-12 levels, to come together and make sure that not only are today's Michigan residents doing well, but our children, our grandchildren, our nieces, our nephews, our cousins, as well as our elders. And so work remains to be done. I think the governor was very sober-minded about that. She's prepared to continue to roll up her sleeves, and we're prepared at MEDC to support her as well as the legislature and our local and regional partners to make sure that Michiganders have the best economic opportunities.
And you're right. You know, that one team Michigan is a powerful, powerful force. And we saw that this week.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And not unlike the state of the state, where efforts were focused on the successes in the past, it was also looking forward over the horizon.
Right.
What does 2022 look like? What does the MEDC, what does Michigan, what do Michiganders have looking out over 2022?
So, I am incredibly bullish on our prospects. But I think by being bullish, we also have to understand that there's still too much pain, too much suffering. We understand that, too many people are dealing with the consequences of the pandemic and the endemic. We have to continue to get to work on that. I think the governor, legislative leaders talked about that on both sides of the aisle, whether it was the Speaker Whitmer or Senate Majority Leader Shirkey at the GM announcement. We've got to always figure out how to do what Michiganders have always done, which is be problem solvers. Be the most innovative problem solvers we possibly can be. And those problems that we have to address, those opportunities, are making sure that our environment from a business perspective remains top shelf. We can't be complacent. We've got to go out and convince and earn future business from GM. We need to make sure that we are competitive for future opportunities with Ford, Stellantis, Toyota, you name it. We have to also make sure that we support agribusiness. I'm very encouraged by the announcement last year of the Office of Rural Development within MDARD, and I look forward to working with Director McDowell and other members of his team with whoever is appointed to that important role. We need to make sure that there is no wrong door. When our friends and neighbors have challenges, whether it's identifying talent or identifying technical assistance and other things for small business, that we, Team Michigan, can provide them with solutions in a timely way. And also just internally within MEDC, need to make sure that we continue to move forward to drive change and make sure that we have the best possible culture of teamwork, collaboration, and risk-taking that we possibly can in order to be innovative. People, Michiganders, deserve nothing less than us constantly pushing the needle, pushing the canvas of our imagination to think more about and expand the limits of that which is possible.
Well, I know, speaking for myself, I am optimistic and look forward to what the future holds in front of us. Mr. Messer, I know you are very busy out doing great work on behalf of the state of Michigan and the 10 plus million Michiganders. I want to thank you so much for taking a moment to chat with us today. And also, I want to thank those that listened in as well.
Well, I am absolutely grateful to you, LT, and the rest of my colleagues and the Marcom team and all those who took time out to listen, and shout out to Mr. Adams and Ms. Hutchison and all those who commented in the chat. We've got the best collective team of ambassadors, and I'm just so honored to be part of this group. Thank you.
Thank you. And for more information on the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, please visit www.michiganbusiness.org. Thanks a lot. Have a great day, folks.